into this movie and we're talking about the law of attraction and all these other things. And, when we focus on, oh my God, there are going to be so many guys out there that are going to cheat on me, or I don't want to go through this experience again, right? But we are not calling in what we want. Like Richard said, I want a woman that can do the Sunday time, the New York Times crossword puzzle with me on the weekends or whatever. And look what he has. So
The Best Is Yet to Come is a podcast about dating later in life. It's co-hosted by Tonya Carter, Brenda Yamas, and me, Richard D'Ambrosio. We're all exploring dating from a fun but sophisticated, sexy, and smart perspective. And we're going to be tackling every issue that mature men and women face while seeking love, companionship, and yes, sex. So you can follow us on our private Facebook group and on our YouTube page. Please join us in this discussion about one of the most important things a human being can have, a relationship with a significant other.
Welcome to The Best Is Yet to Come, episode 18. We are wrapping up 2021. We are getting ready to celebrate New Year's. If you are listening to this podcast the day that it's published, you've got 2 more days to make your resolutions about how you're going to date in 2022. And we are going to offer you our number 1 top tip, each one of us. So you get a bonus of 3 tips from Brenda Yamas. Happy New Year, dear. And
thank you, Rich.
Brenda's, at home in Puerto Rico, and Tonya is not home. Is Tonya Carter? You are on the road.
Yes, I'm in Nassau at the beautiful Reeve Palace, Paradise Island.
She's on Paradise Island.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Some of my travelers for New Year's Eve trip.
That's a beautiful thing. How's the weather?
Weather's beautiful. We came for Junkanoo and it was canceled. We just found out today it was canceled. Nothing to know, whatever it is, but
thanks,
we're going to party anyway.
Screw you, Omicron. I'm so damn done with this.
I know.
Oh my gosh, when are we going to move past?
I said today in a comment on Facebook, I said 2020 was like worst year ever. 2021 looked at 2020 and said, hold my beer.
Hold my beer. Well, a couple of people today. This is just where we are. This is just how we're going to travel.
Yes.
I have my hand sanitizer here. Like I'm sanitizing my hands the whole time I'm talking. I have my mask. Rhea is very strict about the mask. I'm liking that they're very strict about the mask. They have hand sanitizer everywhere, and they're actively standing in the lobby, sanitized. There's a temperature check. So when you come through, they do the temperature check. And they're not, like the cruise ships, you can just say, I'm not going to wash my hand, nasty people. No, these people you're going to sanitize your hands. No,
I'm glad.
I got news for you guys. Everybody outside of the U.S. has been enforcing these rules, except the U.S.
Yes.
Right? Because for the last almost 2 years that I've been here, I am still 100% masked up. I don't get an option to go outside without a mask. And I am still doing temperature checks and hand sanitizer when I walk in the store. They're still sanitizing the conveyor belt between grocery clients, here. So, and now with the resurgence, it's like we're going right back to 50% capacity, 6 feet, it's just... U.S. is just like, oh, whatever. We're tired. We're just not going to do it.
I was in the grocery store yesterday for a couple of items, and 2 young ladies, late 20s maybe, walked in strutting their stuff about not having to wear a mask. You could tell they were so proud of themselves that all the rest of us were masked, and they just wanted to flaunt it, and nobody said a word to them. Nobody said a word.
Over in the U.S., you can fight and act the fool. These other countries are not going to play. I'm in the lobby. I'm in this area of the lobby. I don't know if you can see it because I have my green screen up.
Yeah, we can't.
Oh, yeah, no, we can't.
But, okay, but I'm actually over in the corner by myself. There's no one 15, 20 feet. There's literally no one in this whole area at all.
Well,
so that's comfortable.
If we don't knock this back, it is going to be a difficult dating environment in 2022. I am currently seeing a woman in New York City, and it can be a challenge. We have to organize around, what's going on in Manhattan, and Manhattan is starting to rise again because it's a densely populated place. Even if people are masked, even if people are vaccinated, it's just the law of numbers that this thing is going to spread 3 times as fast as Delta. And if we don't get serious about stopping this, there's either going to be a lot of dead people. So hopefully that'll winnow down the bad dates. Because for me, anybody who chooses not to wear a mask or be vaccinated is somebody I don't want to date anyway.
I agree.
And so either we're going to have that, or, all of us are just going to suffer, and we're all going to have to be struggling with restaurants that don't have enough tables because they have to spread us out, 50% capacity. And you know what? I'm tired of taking the abuse of other people's bad choices. I am making the choices to reduce my transmission levels, to protect the people I care about, and to protect people I don't even know, who I just bump into in the supermarket. And you know what? I'm doing my best. If you're listening to this podcast and you can't stand me because I'm vaccinated, boosted, and I'm doing the responsible things, then you're free to not listen. But you know what? You're sticking it to yourself and you're sticking it to the rest of us. And I think you need to go and make a New Year's resolution about being more introspective in 2022.
I was very proud of the people on our plane today. Everybody was masked up. There was no qualm. I didn't see, even me, I lifted the bottom of my mask just to drink just a sip of water. Yep. Everyone was so mask conscious throughout the whole airport.
Right.
In Atlanta, but of course, especially in Nassau.
Right.
I think that maybe good will triumph the people who are just intent on being asswipes about this. And someone was said about them testing for domestic flights. I do think we should test for domestic flights. Why not?
Who's going to pay the price, and what are the protocols if somebody has a false negative, false positive? It's a difficult proposition. I'm not going to say it's easy. I think masking is an obvious thing. This is an airborne disease. If you're wearing a decent mask, you're preventing those particles. You're preventing a certain amount of those particles from getting out into the cabin of the flight. And a friend of mine who does all this kind of research says he thinks right now there's greater transmission going on in the airports than actually inside the airline cabins, because people are less conscious about keeping a mask over their nose and mouth in the airport than they are on the plane for whatever reason. So Paul believes that that it's the airports that we really need it. We're doing an okay job on the airplanes, I think. It's hard to tell. And of course, now we have 92 cruise ships that are under examination by the CDC. So if you are a dater and you are hoping to take your beloved on a cruise, that could be a bigger challenge in 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, we just don't need this shit anymore. Just do the right thing. Let's knock this son of a bitch out. Let's get back to living our lives without putting people at risk. The woman I'm dating does have a couple of issues that could make her getting COVID a complication. She'd probably survive it. But, I'm going to be very honest. Fuck you if you don't care about her health. Fuck you. I care about this person, and I'm lucky that I don't have any of those health issues, and I'm fine. But for you to be that ignorant and insensitive to other people, maybe not being as healthy as you, fuck you. Get over yourself and just do the right thing. Just enough of this shit. Okay. With that, we are on to episode 18. And I tell you, looking at the stats of what our most popular episodes are, whether you're on our YouTube channel or any of our podcast channels for downloads and listening, a couple of themes came out. Number one, sex sells.
Our most commercial, magazine, video.
Sex sells. And so the episode that Brenda and Tonya did about sex is had our most views on the YouTube channel. But interestingly, on our podcast, one of the most powerful episodes, given the amount of time that it's been published compared to our first couple episodes, was the episode with Linda Wida, where we talked about how very often previous relationships leave us with some kind of trauma, and that leads us to having a reluctance to date, or maybe we sabotage new relationships. So that is a nice theme, and we'll be bringing Linda back in first quarter of next year as a guest to keep talking about those things. What did you guys think of some of the episodes that maybe you liked the best?
I felt like Linda's episode was really more of a healing episode for me, and maybe that's how other people thought. It's like, it's okay. I'm not the only one who's having these feelings. I'm not the only one who's hurt. Yep. It built a sort of camaraderie. It was like, okay, all right, there isn't something just wrong with me. This is what other people are experiencing.
Yes, I was very comforted by a lot of the things that Linda said, because she did give me a sense of how my experiences and how I feel are relative to the general population. And I felt more normal after that episode, that, wow, yeah, I get what she's saying. Yeah, now I see myself in that manner, and it doesn't feel so bad. Yep. Like
she gave us permission to feel that way. And then she was a great presenter.
Yeah.
The information.
Yeah, she's wonderful. So we're definitely going to have her back. And I'll tell you, if we can have her back 2 or 3 times next year, I think that'll be a great addition to the podcast. We've also got, hopefully our first male guest is going to be joining us in February, because this has been all about the ladies. Other than me, I've been the only male voice on the podcast. So I'm looking forward to having Douglas in February. He's a man's man. And it's going to be interesting to see that dynamic. Brenda, your favorite episode this year?
My favorite episode, besides the sex episode with Tonya, just because it was a lot of fun for me, after a whole bottle. No, I could definitely the same episode with oh my gosh, what's her
Linda.
name?
Linda Wida.
Yes,
yep.
True. Linda, and also the other lady that was with us, help me with the name. I'm so bad with names. I'm so sorry. That actually found.
Was it Kathy? What was her name?
Tracy Pizzuto.
Tracy.
Yes, I enjoyed that. It was it was very. It gave me a lot of hope.
Funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess our guests have been really fun. Not to say that we do have a lot of fun.
Oh, you guys make me laugh all the time.
Oh, and you do too. I just listened to that last episode that I wasn't able to be at, the bonus where you were talking to the men.
He was getting down that day. He had taken like Mighty Mouse.
Girl, I was like, whoa, Richard.
Oh, because I've sat there in those restaurants and I've talked to these women, and it's a consistent message about these idiots. Guys, if we're in our 40s or 50s, good gracious, when are you going to grow up?
Did you see the video I sent you the other day, Richard? I don't know if I sent it to Brenda, where the guy was like 48. And he was like, I have to have the girls who's 26 and 38. And I think I sent that to you, Richard. I have to send it out. But
send it again, because I don't remember it. Was it via Facebook Messenger? I think it got buried.
Who's 26 to 38. She's got to be.
And how old is he?
48.
48. Okay.
Like, what 20-something-year-old woman wants him? And so the one lady's like, they're only going to use you. You're going to have them, but they're going to use you.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's like, no, they're not going to use me. Yeah, they're going to use you.
You got me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially some of these young girls out there, I call them the gram generation. They're all about, what looks good for the gram. They're just trying to find a sugar daddy, somebody that's going to.
Listen, my daughter's in college, and she would talk about the sugar babies at her school. They have a whole name for the sugar babies. It's a whole thing.
There are men trolling women at college campuses.
Didn't I just tell you this old 48-year-old man went in there, like, I think he was 23 to, he's 48, so 23 to like 30 something. He didn't want anybody within 20 years of his age, something like that.
20
Oh, isn't that sweet of him?
15 years. But they have the sugar babies. There's a whole website dedicated to sugar babies.
Holy shit.
Well, I had told my ex-husband, you need to stop messing with these young women, because these young women, they're just looking for somebody to take care of.
Like the one lady said, I just need you to pay my student loans, old man. She put that in the comment. Like, once I get my student loans paid, I'm out.
Wow.
Well, episode 14 was about just, strap on a pair of balls, guys, and act like a man. It's, this is not difficult. And you know what? Having never dated a woman more than 8 years, my junior, here's what I can tell you guys. The sex, you don't need those women 20 years younger than you. You don't need them.
Especially if you as a 50-year-old can go 5 rounds.
Yes, and that's what the lady was saying. She's like, you're 48. You probably need Viagra already.
Hey, wait a second. I'm 57 and I have never needed anything like that. So let's not bucket all of us in the same.
Richard, we just said you're a class apart, sweetie.
Okay, thank you. But I'm just saying there's a lot of guys out there who are not having ED problems.
But I mean, if you got to keep it with a 20-something-year-old Richard, yeah, you're going to need some Viagra. Just to keep the energy level.
Guys, if you can't talk about the television shows and music that were popular during your day, and that woman knows it and can fit that vibe with you, she's too young. She's just too young.
I'm saying, what can you talk about with a 28-year-old?
Listen, this old man said he wanted this girl to have a strong throat. See how ignorant he was? He's like, long as she got a strong throat, we were like, man, go somewhere.
Well,
you just need a sex partner. You're not looking for any other kind of partner.
And there's dolls for that. You know what? You can buy yourself toys for that if that's what you need.
Wait a minute.
A doll for that. Okay, let's not ask questions.
But I have a question for you, Richard.
Don't ask me about the doll. What's your definition
of a man's man? What is a man's man?
Well, we will be doing more episodes. Talking more frankly. So if some of this language is offensive, again, you're free to not come back. But we need to have frank conversations because people like Linda exist, because so many people are screwing up other people with their infantile beliefs. And if my using off-color language grabs your attention, if it motivates you to think about something, I'm going to use it, because one of the purposes of this podcast is to try to encourage introspection and change. Because, I mean, I'm tired of hearing so many females tell me I'm done with the dating scene. Guys, that's because of you. If you're not acting like a gentleman, if you're not finding yourself in a bedroom for the right reasons instead of some manipulation game you're playing, you know what? Your hand, your palm, your 5 fingers can take care of that and protect women who don't need your bullshit.
You all the way live.
Yes.
You're all the way live. You know about that? All the way live.
It's only my first beer tonight, too.
Wow.
Yeah,
imagine if I was on number 4. Forget it.
I had to pull out my peach mimosa.
but I appreciate you saying that, Richard, because it needs to be said. People are leaving trails of hurt, traumatized people because they don't care about no one but themselves. I mean, back to the COVID situation, right? That's right back where we are, why we are in this situation, because people care about themselves and no one else.
That's it.
So how can you expect anybody to care about you when you don't care about anybody else around you?
And if you are out there dating 2 or 3 different people per month, there you go. There's 24 people, more than 24 people who you've messed with in a year. And if we've got 1,000 people like you, that's 24,000 people messed up because of people like you. Do the math. It's, we've got to stop.
And that's not counting the other people that he's messing with and maybe messing with other people.
There you go.
That's the whole network, a spider web of people that are hurt, they're traumatized. People say, "Oh, it's just sex," but let's be honest. I don't want to get churchy, and I don't want to get all spiritual.
Oh, get churchy. Come on, go ahead.
But you do there's a transference of spirit.
Right. That's what my pastor used to say. With every person you lay down, you are giving a little bit of yourself to this person, whether good, bad, or indifferent. Like you're leaving something with that person.
Yes,
so by the time you do meet the person that you're supposed to be with, you're an incomplete person because you've been leaving pieces of yourself along the way. How can you be the best person for this person when you've been a little careless in the past? And now let's be honest. We're not talking about young people that are finding themselves and are having fun and they're not ready for this, but at our age.
Thank you for saying that, Brenda. Yes.
It's at this age, it's a different ball game.
It is.
At this age, people, we've been saying through, I think, this entire season, right? We've been going through things. We have been through the horrible divorces and breakups and separations, and it's just a lot of bullshit and a lot of hurt regardless.
Yeah. I have an ex-girlfriend who had a situation this year where, and she filled me in on it because she wanted my opinion. And it was so patently obvious to me what this dickhead was doing. It was so patently obvious, but because she was optimistic, she was processing some things in her past and trying to pursue a relationship with this guy. She was giving him every opportunity to be deceitful, to hurt her again and again and again. And she couldn't pull herself out of this. And this is not a 20-something-year-old woman. This is not a 40-something-year-old woman. This is a woman who's had a lot of years of experience in dating, has been married. And here she is being just openly deceived by this dickhead. And his lies were so ridiculous. I'm on the phone saying, are you kidding me? Do you really believe what he just said to you is true? Do you really fucking believe that there's an iota of truth in any of that? Because I'm a guy. I don't see that at all. If he gives a damn about you, he's going to make time for you. If he gives a damn about you, he's not working 4 straight nights. That's bullshit. He don't live 3 hours away where maybe if he's working nights, it's hard for him to get there. He lives in your town. He can't stop by for an hour and a half. The reason why he can't stop by is he's got a couple of side chicks.
Right.
He's apportioned his week to each one of them. And when he can fit you in, he will.
He have them in rotation. He have all the women. Well, you know, on Facebook yesterday, she said, women, don't try to fix these broken men. You're not the one working on him. There's 8 other women trying to fix the same broken man. Do not become part of that construction team. I thought that was so funny.
That is good.
There's a whole crew working on one dude who doesn't see a problem with what he's doing. He doesn't want to be worked up.
No, that's a great tip, actually. I didn't even think of that as a great tip for happier dating in 2022. Don't take on any human projects. That is not your job. You are not in construction and demolition. This is a relationship.
Yes.
Let them build themselves up.
Absolutely.
And I was going to say, and with that, which one of you wants to go first? What is your tip for 2022?
Let me segue into my tip, if you don't mind, Tonya.
Please do.
Because I was going to say, right? I was going to talk about we have to work on ourselves and heal in order for us to move on to the next relationship.
Right.
But men, listen, I'm going to pick up my microphone right now. Men, I need you to hear this loud and clear. I'm also tired of your bullshit. That reminded me, what you just described, Richard, is something that I remember from that book, comedian Steve Harvey. I know men hate him and half the women do too. And I can see why. But there's this one side of his book that I read that has always stuck with me that says men cheat, men lie because you allow them to, meaning you have not set up the boundaries to say, if you lie to me, or if you cheat on me, it's over.
Yeah.
You don't get another chance. You don't get a break. You don't get a this. You don't get a that. It's over. And if a man knows what the repercussions will be, they will really think about what they're going to do, right? Depending on how much they value the relationship. So now, see,
legend.
He wants to talk. He's been quiet all day with me. But so if we're going to work on ourselves, which is my tip, I think that just doesn't go for women. Men, you need to do it too. Stop being an asshole. You're 40, you're 50 years old, and you're still being an asshole. You're still trying to run the streets and talk. And I say this from personal experience because, I've been sort of trying kind of date, of course, you guys know my history, but and just here in the last few months, it's like everything that has never happened to me has happened. Oh, did I tell you guys? I did tell you guys that I got my first dick pic, my first unsolicited dick pic.
Oh, yeah.
Consider yourself lucky you made it this far.
Yeah. Right. I feel like I need a badge of honor. 44, have never
We should
received
do
a dick
that.
pic.
We should come up with the best is yet to come badge of dick pic honor.
Yeah, I am wearing my badge of, I can't wear it anymore because I just got it, right? But listen, I'm still pissed about this. I'm still pissed off. First, because I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the dick, first of all. Listen, second.
Did you say that in reply? Did you say that? I'm sorry. Where in this picture can I find this?
I sure did. Listen, I never spoke to this guy ever. We only text good mornings a couple of times. We never even had a conversation. This guy texts me a picture of his boxers, what I'm assuming. And he's like, oh, here I am with my hard dick. And I'm like, it took all of me. But I said, this was my reply.
Is that a piggy in the blanket?
I said,
Remember the piggies in the blanket?
I said, I'm not sure, but it looks to be about 3 inches. Is that it?
You're not hard, are you?
He replies and he says, hard up. Right. Look, then he replies and he says, oh, wait, it's not hard. Let me send you another one.
Oh, yeah. Nice comeback.
And then he sends a clear picture that is not his. It looks like a picture that just came out of Google somewhere.
You can Google those?
Sending your own picture, but you Googling dicks of somebody else.
Can you get those on Pixabay?
Well, he was probably trying to look for one that was more than 3 inches.
Oh,
so then I said, you know what? You're just a pig. Because I was so repulsed. I was like, you know what? Never mind. You're just a pig. I didn't even ask you for a picture to begin with.
Oh my God.
You know what his answer was?
What?
He says, and you're fat.
Why is that always a go-to?
Because
I was like, that's the best you can come up with?
That's the answer, Tonya. The go-to is because that's what he's dealing with.
Like, why do you always go to that? That's great.
Because he's got nothing else. He's got nothing else.
You message me. Anyway, so I'm still pissed off about that. So if I'm willing to work on myself, I am meditating every day. I am doing a lot of introspection, trying to better myself. Guys, do the work too. Do the work too. There's no what do you call that? Like, there's no shame in being a guy and working on yourself. Yeah. Stop with that bullshit.
I worked in a lumber yard for 8 years for my dad. And let me tell you, when you're 13, 14 years old and you're hanging around truck drivers, you learn about men and you learn about sex in a certain way very, very quickly.
Like in the barbershop for women.
And there were a group of guys who just thought that they were freaking studs. And one day my foreman, who was a devoted husband, as far as I know, he'd never cheated on his wife. He always talked wonderfully about her. One day we're standing there talking to a driver. He brought in some lumber. You know, we unload his trucks and he's looking at a woman in the yard. I guess it was a customer or something. And it was the summertime. So she was dressed, in shorts and a tight fitting top. And he said something and Whitey looked at him and he said, dude, he goes, I get laid by accident more than you do on purpose. And that quote stuck with me for the rest of my life. Whenever a guy would be the guy's guy and I would be a gentleman, and we'd get into this debate about whose system worked better. I didn't consider it a system. It was the way I was. That was my go-to line was, dude, I get laid on accident more than you do on purpose. Because if you treat a woman with respect, if you treat a woman as someone who, even if it's a one night stand, if you didn't act like a shithead, and I've got to be honest with you, I've never had a one night stand. It just never was the thing that I found myself in the middle of. But I'll tell you, every woman I've had a relationship with who wasn't emotionally unstable, it wasn't an issue. Her libido was not an issue. And these guys who think by being a guy's guy, somehow, they're spending more nights alone in the bathroom than they're willing to admit. And it really is true. I mean, you know what, if you're Wilt Chamberlain or Magic Johnson, granted, but you know what? 99.9999% of us are not Wilt Chamberlain, Magic Johnson. We can't play basketball like those guys. We're not famous like those guys. We're not studs like those guys. So you ain't getting it like those guys. Like Brenda said, do the work on yourself. Turn yourself around in 2022 and watch how often you find yourself in bed with a woman who gives a shit about you and is pretty damn good at it. It's really that simple. It's that freaking simple.
Absolutely. I agree.
I agree with you. I think, if Brenda hadn't said that, that would have been my number one tip is spend the year really working on yourself. Goes for men and women. I broke up with a woman at about this time last year. We formalized it in January of 2021. I made a commitment to myself to work on myself, to figure out why I kept attracting certain kinds of women, why I had relationships in a certain way. And right now it's almost 2.5 months that I'm with an amazing lady. And you know what? I think so much of it was because I decided I was not going to date for the longest time. And just really get to know myself better. What is it that I do? How do I project myself out there? Am I happy being alone? If I was to never find anybody again, could I be happy with that? And I'll tell you, this relationship happened totally by accident. Totally by accident. I didn't have to put any effort into it.
I think it was meant to be. Don't you think? It was not random. Yeah. You have been working up to this point. She was also, and it was meant to be.
I think it was supposed to be. I agree.
Yeah.
You know what? My attitude is you cannot have a long-term relationship with another person if you have not had a long-term relationship with yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You can't. It doesn't work that way.
Yes. If you're not happy alone, you can't be happy with anybody else.
No,
I agree with that. You definitely have to have peace within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
My tip, what was my tip? My tip was to be realistic about your expectations.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For yourself and for the person you want to date. I know without a doubt, I have to have someone who's going to be able to travel. I have to have someone who's adventurous. I don't mean jump off the cliff at Rick's Cafe. I mean be willing to try a different food or go to a different country or even just explore the city that we're living in. And I also know that if I meet someone and he's not adventurous, that he's not interested in any of the things I'm interested in, then I should just cut it off. Don't try to build him up. Don't try to build a broken man. So yeah, I just being realistic for what my expectations are for me, for what I expect in myself, and what I'm willing to give or not give, what risk I'm willing to take, and also what I'm willing to put up for that other person. Like Richard just said, a person can only do what you allow them to do. If I see something I don't like, recognize it. Don't make excuses for it. Move past it. Yep. Cut it off.
Oh, that's a great one, Tonya, because I think a lot of times, like that one that you were talking about, Richard, from your friend, we make so many excuses and we doubt ourselves. Like you can see the red flag going up and it's like, oh, but so since we have to be a little selfish and put ourselves first. And it's like, you know what, let me trust my intuition and let me trust my instincts. And that's a red flag. Why am I entertaining this?
Well, the word selfish that you use, growing up, especially as women, we were taught being selfish was a bad thing. But now being selfish is a good thing. We're not being selfish. I'm not going to let Richard play with my toy, but I'm being selfish. I'm not going to let him play with my heart,
Right.
I play with my time.
Anya, I want to play with your toys, but not that way.
I was going to say, what toy are we talking about? We're talking about 5-year-old toys or we're talking about 50-year-old toys? Okay, I'll leave it at that. Let's just leave it right there.
G.I. Joe dolls.
Oh, G.I. Joe, you have military fantasies.
Yeah,
you ain't right.
But I think it's just simple as that for me, you guys. I don't think I have a whole lot to go into besides that.
I think you're right. I think expectations they cut both ways. So it depends. And I think, you know what? It really feels interesting the way we're sequencing this. So Brenda's talking about work on yourself first and knowing who you are and being confident about who you are. And I'll tell you, once you know who you are and what you want, what makes you happier, not what makes you happy, what makes you happier. The woman that I'm dating right now, we always tell each other, I'm happy, but you make me happier. True. You add to my life. So once you've done that work, like Brenda said, then you can start to set the expectations of what you want out of this person.
Right. And not what you can make them do. That's completely different. I'm not trying to make anyone do something. I'm not trying to talk them into it. I don't want to drag them kicking and screaming. It goes back where Richard with the red wine and his girlfriend introduced him to, what was it, French wine, something you had never tasted.
Italian red wines. Yep.
She introduced you to that. You enjoyed it. It was like, oh no, I'm not going to drink this wine. Just get away from me with it. Right. It was like, oh, I've never, just be interesting. I want someone who's interesting. That's it. Simplest thing. Someone who knows that I do not plan on retiring in the United States. So if he's, and I don't want to travel by myself. I've done that before. I don't want to be with someone who every time I get on the plane, I have to leave him here because he's not willing to go. I'm flexible. My time is flexible. I need someone who's flexible as well.
And what I was going to say about it, how it cuts both ways is if you haven't done the introspection, you may set a certain level of expectations that actually work against the success of your dating strategy or experience, because you really don't know what you are and who you are and what makes you happy, but you conform to some set of expectations. And now all of a sudden you keep attracting those guys because that's what you're putting out there. But after a couple of months, you find you're miserable with him or her. And so that's the way it cuts in the bad way. And the way it cuts in the good way is the way Tonya just said, is when you start to know these things, you can start to pick up on what it is you're looking for and whether or not that person actually fits what you were looking for. I've been telling the woman that I've been dating, it's funny. I really, over the last 8 years of being single, my separation started in 2013. That was when the divorce was filed, and I kind of felt free not to be tethered to the marriage. But I didn't actually start dating until 2014. About like May of 2014 was when I finally started dating. So I kind of thought I knew what I wanted and what my expectations were. But over the last 2 serious relationships I've had, I've really crystallized it. And when I met the woman that I'm with right now, I never said a word about what I was looking for, other than I said to her at the very beginning, I am not in this for anything other than either a friendship. It doesn't work out. We're not going to be romantically entangled, or a long-term relationship. I'm 57. I don't have a ton of time to just be playing around, sleeping in beds, leaving at 1 o'clock in the morning, saying goodbye to that person every 2 months, and meeting the next person. I don't have time for that bullshit no more. I want to be with somebody who I can plan New Year's Eve with, and I know it's going to happen, and we can buy Billy Joel tickets together. That isn't going to happen until June or July. That's what I want now. And I kind of knew all of this in my head going into this, this serendipitous. We even called it a meeting at the beginning. We didn't even call it a date because we didn't know what it was going to be. And yet every step of the way, something felt organically right, because my expectations were set. Either this person's going to be a friend, or I'm going to look for certain things that I've been looking for because I know who and what I am. And if I start to see those things happening, I'm going to go, holy shit, this is pretty good. And that's the way I set my expectations going into this with her. And it's a cool thing. It's a really cool thing.
I think the Sunday New York Times crossword called the seal the deal.
That was so two of the coolest hours of my life. That was one of the most amazing experiences because we were playing off of each other and helping each other out. And she knows things that I don't know, and I knew things that she didn't know. And it just all of a sudden the puzzle was done, and we're looking at each other going, I think that's a sign.
Wow, that is so true.
It is cool.
He had always wanted someone to do this New York Times.
I did.
And she didn't even know that. So Here's the backstory. He always wanted. She didn't know it. She brought the puzzle to you, correct, Rich, and said, let's do this.
Yeah.
Right?
When we finished it, the excitement on her face when she turned to look at me, she's like, oh, I felt the same thing. I was elated. And I'm like, that's another good sign. If you go back into my Facebook feed to not the most previous woman that I dated, but the woman, 5 years before that, very often I was alone on a weekend because of the distance between the two of us. And I would be doing the Sunday New York Times crossword puzzle by myself. And I never sat there and said, boy, wouldn't it be fun to have a woman in my life who was doing this with me? But I used to post when I would get stuck. I used to post pictures of where I was in the puzzle with the clues on my Facebook page and say, hey, friends, not to any woman in particular, but the woman who I was dating was friends with me on Facebook. I'd say, hey, guys, I'm struggling with this. Anybody have any ideas here on answers to some of these clues? And every now and then this woman would jump in with an answer. And I think maybe subtly, I was picking up on, it'd be really cool if I had someone to do this with, but I never had that as a checkbox. And then it happened 2 weeks ago and I was like, holy shit. Like you said, Tonya, I manifested this.
Yeah, you did.
I did. My tip is don't give up hope. My tip is that too many of us are stuck in a place where we've been burned often enough that we are either consciously or unconsciously sabotaging dates and potential dating prospects because we're expecting this to end. And we build in these failures and these disappointments to convince ourselves that A, he or she is not really out there. I'm not worth being loved like that anyway. So I'm just going to be promulgating this, experience that I have over and over again. And if you follow the sequence of the tips, if you first work on yourself and you're comfortable with yourself, you're comfortable with being alone with yourself, you learn how to love yourself, really love the person who you are. And if there's things that you need to work on, don't beat yourself up about those things, work on those things. But you're probably not a shitty person if you're introspective. If you're willing to be introspective, then you're probably a decent person and you're worthy of your love. If you're a shitty person, you're a narcissist, you may not be worthy of someone else's love. You should love yourself and stay there. But if you can go through that process that Brenda described, okay, that's the first step. You're grounded. Then you start setting these expectations about what you want. And once you have those expectations in place, have faith that he or she is out there. And there was a great meditation by one of my favorite spiritual authors, Henry Nouwen, came out the day after Christmas. And his meditation that day was, become like a child. Children don't walk around generally with this doom and gloom, self-sabotaging attitude. They go into experiences with optimism. If, someone hasn't screwed them up, they go into experiences believing in Santa Claus. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Unless someone tells them there's no Santa Claus, children are inclined to believe in Santa Claus. You should believe in the mystery of generosity of spirit and a kindness and a person who is worthy of your time and your emotional effort. And don't give up hope, because that's one thing I've never done. As I came out of my divorce, as the divorce started, and I was wondering, I've never been with a woman in 20 plus years other than this person who I didn't think was very productive for me. I think I adopted a lot of the negativity from that person, and therefore I went into the dating space probably not healed. But as I went through that process, I always said to myself, there's somebody out there. I just need to be open. I need to be trusting. And if my trust and red flags don't protect me, I can't give up hope that there's somebody out there. And so that's my big tip, is do the work that Brenda and Tonya just talked about, and then trust in yourself and trust in the universe that there is somebody waiting for you and you're going to come across them. And I believe in that. I believe in it very strongly.
And I would like to say in the interim, do what makes you happy. I got on that plane and flew to Nassau. I didn't even care. Don't sit there with a microscope or magnifying glass looking for this phantom person. Just go out and do what you enjoy doing. Let that person find you.
And that person will cross your path. Yes. And it may be connecting through Atlanta Hartsfield Airport.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Jesus.
Don't you remember the days where you could sit at a bar and look at the person sitting next to you and just chat up a storm with them? I miss those days. Yeah. I miss those days. It's one of the few things about traveling that I used to enjoy, was bumping into random people, because I would have never been sitting in the bar in Minneapolis if not for a business trip. Yeah.
I mean, we still do that. I was chatting to people, and the stranger sent me a text message this morning. Mom, be safe. Wear your mask. Don't be out there talking to people. I was like, I read a text message like, listen to my mom and daughter. I was like, duh. I talk to everybody I meet. Get over it.
Me too. I'm the one who embarrasses the shit out of my kids. Dad, do you have to talk to everybody? Yes, I do. Yes. I absolutely do.
So I was talking to Aaliyah and Aaliyah's father the other night, and they went to eat somewhere new in town that Aaliyah has never been to. And they had dinner. And of course, her dad used to be the town police chief way back in the day. So he's sitting there having dinner, and everybody's coming up and talking to him. So she turns to him and it's like, Dad, must you talk to everybody? Do you really know everyone? This little girl, listen, this little girl, she is just ruthless. My goodness.
But you know what? She's learning from the two of you to put herself out there.
Yes.
Oh yes, absolutely. That child has no. I remember. Did I tell you guys a story about her kindergarten teacher telling me, if I had half of the confidence that child has at that age, I would be totally different now, because this girl. No, she's cute. No, she's smart. Right. We actually do affirmations every morning on the way to school. Sorry, hold on, guys. We're like, what kind of day are we going to have? And she's like, we're going to have a good day. And I say, why are we going to have a good day? Because I decided that I'm going to have a good day. And why are we going to have a good day?
I love it.
Well, I am beautiful. I am smart. I am beautiful, smart, strong, and I'm special. And I'm like, good. Oh, wow. And even when she doesn't believe it and she doesn't want to say it, she still says it. I'm smart. I'm beautiful. I'm special. I'm like, your mind establishes your day.
Amen, sister.
That is something that we really need to start teaching our kids and start teaching other people, because we don't realize that a lot of times we attract the bad. So I was watching something the other day, and I think this is going to be can I have a bonus tip?
Sure.
Have at it.
Of course.
So I was listening to this movie, and we're talking about the law of attraction and all these other things. And, when we focus on, oh my God, there are going to be so many guys out there that are going to cheat on me, or I don't want to go through this experience again, right? But we are not calling in what we want. Like Richard said, I want a woman that can do the Sunday time, the New York Times crossword puzzle with me on the weekends or whatever. And look what he has. So I've done these two exercises by two different authors when it comes to manifesting the love of their lives. Now, I haven't done it intentionally. I've read it, but I haven't done it myself. But it is something that I think is something worth doing. It's just taking out a piece of paper and just making a list of all the things and the qualities you want in this person. Okay. And believing and thanking the universe, if that's what you believe in, or you don't believe in, and whatever you believe in, thanking that person ahead of time for being in your life. I want a person that's going to do the Sunday crossword puzzle. I want to have a person that I can sit back and have a drink on the deck at night. I want a person that listens to me. It doesn't have to fix my problems. I just want them to be able to listen. I want a person that opens the door for me, in the car. That's a little thing, but it's such a big deal, at least for most of us women and men. And then you need to really think about, okay, this person, what am I going to bring to the table, and where am I going to find them? Right? Because if I don't ever leave the house, I am not going to probably find this person, or at least figure out where this person hangs out, or what circles do I need to be around in order to maybe have an extra chance of meeting this person. And then what do I need to do? Right. What do I need to do to also be a good partner to this person? So I think that's my bonus. It's a little woo-woo out there, and
No, it's not. It's real. It's freaking real.
Yeah, I believe in saying it. It works for you. It has worked for you, Richard, right? Like
I think so.
I can't think of a better testament. I'll tell you something really, and I keep going back to my marriage was a good marriage until it wasn't, but it was good. And the dating was really good. I remember thinking before I met him that I wanted somebody to be excited about me. And I remember when we first started dating, we had been friends. So Valentine's Day was 2 weeks later. And I was on a business trip. I came home, and from the airport, I went straight to his house. And I met him, and he had these flowers, and there was this note. And it said, I am so excited about you. Can't wait to see what's in the future for us. I was shocked because I'm like, I don't think I ever told this guy that I wanted somebody to be excited about me. That was my thing. That was what I was trying to call in. Somebody to be excited about me. And when I read that note, I was like, holy crap. Those are the words that I've been asking for. So,
I think it's real. I really do. And I just feel what you focus on expands. If you focus on all the negative dates, if you focus on all the bad history, you're going to get more negative dates and bad history. You're good. That's what you're going to get.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, Tonya, I cut you off.
No, I know you were talking. You didn't cut me off. I was just not in agreement with what you were saying.
So, guys, we are almost at our limit. It's been an amazing 18 episodes. I have learned so much about myself, and I've got whole new thoughts in my head, especially when I'm not on the podcast and I'm listening to the two of you, and I'm having to react to what you're saying and not being a part of it. I am so looking forward to the whole of 2022 with the two of you. We've got so many topics that we are going to talk about for the first time, topics we're going to revisit because we never got around to certain details. What are the things that you want to talk about the most in 2022, starting with you, Tonya? What's like the burning platform for you that you'd like to see us kick off 2022 with?
Self-love. So many people don't have it. Yeah. And that's the catalyst for everything.
Well, Linda has agreed to come back. She and I are noodling through a bunch of topics. If you guys want to send her a note about some of your thoughts, I think that'll help coalesce the whole topic. So by all means, how about you, Brenda? What would you like to focus on for 2022 at the very beginning? Because obviously this is organic and it's going to grow.
I think just having maybe more honest conversations, especially men having honest conversations with women where we can agree and we can learn from each other. I think there's such a large amount of hostility and misconceptions.
Yes.
That I think that we just need to have a sit down and have that conversation. I think that's why it works with us so well because, right, you have that male perspective and we have that female perspective. And I think we need more of that. We have a lot of men out there that have certain issues and women that have a lot of issues. And why can't we just sit down and talk about it and just start dismantling some of these issues that we have with each other?
I have that conversation with my best male friend all the time. I don't believe in that whole, men are from Venus or women are from Venus, men are from Mars. Yes, we are built by society and a lot of its indoctrination of what a man should be, what a woman should be. But I don't think inherently we are all that different as human beings, other than some of the obvious biological differences. Mm-hmm. And I think this whole war of the sexes and the success of people like, I forget his first name, but his last name is Gray. Success of books like Venus and Mars put us on these opposing sides. And that's just not productive. I'm sorry. It's not. Once you start looking at the other gender, the other person as somehow something you've got to manipulate or change or adapt to, that's just bullshit. And I think what we just need to have is what Brenda said. We need to start having honest conversations with each other. Guys, if your male ego is hurt by a woman who's independent and's got her own money, then just say that, for God's sakes. Mm-hmm. Just say to her, I feel a little intimidated by how much money you make and you're so independent. You've already got your own home and I'm still just talk about it. Don't play the male female bullshit. And you know what? If she's got issues with a man who's not making as much money as she is, then you know what? Maybe you're not right for each other, but that's about the two of you. It's not about this gender bullshit. Yeah. And if we can focus on that in 2022, Brenda, oh my God, I'm so behind you 110%. Let's start breaking this down between individuals and let's start getting people to be more honest with each other about what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and how they act on those things so people can have more productive relationships. Oh my God, yes. I'm so in for that. And I've been saving up videos from some of the gurus out there. And it's always about, hey, ladies, I'm going to tell you 5 secrets about men. And you know what? It's like, no, there's no fucking secrets about men. We are so fucking obvious with who and what we are. Yes. Just talk to me. You don't have to play manipulation games. Just talk to me. And men, that's open to that.
Oh, that's my biggest pet peeve. It's like, the secret, the framework. I'm like, that bullshit works for some people, but not for everybody. Like, stop Stop selling people pipe dreams.
Remember those two ladies who wrote the book, The Rules?
Oh, yeah. That was so cool.
You know what? Ladies and gentlemen, stop reading these books and pandering to these bullshit gurus. Just talk to each other, man, and be honest with each other. Holy shit. 99% of your relationship problems can be solved by talking honestly to each other.
Absolutely.
It's really that simple.
Absolutely.
Ladies, you know I love you both. Please stay safe over this New Year's Eve. Please, Tonya, get home safe from the Bahamas. I hope you have a great time. I hope you relax. I hope the sun shines and kisses your skin and you are rejuvenated for 2022. Brenda, to that beautiful daughter of yours, I hope she gets home safe and sound and you're giving her big hugs before school starts. And let's go back at it in January because we're not going anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely not.
Okay, guys.
Are we toasting tonight? I have my remote on standby.
Yes. Well, I finished mine, but I'll toast you anyway.
Oh.
To 2022.
Okay. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. There was a little bit left, so it counts.
I have my mask. I'm putting it back on. I'm headed up to my room. I'm going to order some room service, and that's going to do it.
If for some reason you do find a guy, just make sure he's tested.
Oh, yeah. Keep your mask
on. I'm not worried about that. I'm just looking for the guy who's going to give me a piece of steak off that hibachi grill. Okay. Happy New Year, you guys. I'm going today.
Thank you.
Okay. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.